Hello everyone, and welcome to the Supercharge Your Sales Through Inbound Marketing webinar. This is a complete guide to inbound marketing. Now, using inbound marketing, Joomla web design agency Savvy Panda was able to skyrocket their leads by 675% in only 3 months. And in this session, Savvy Panda president Gabe Wahhab will teach you the inbound marketing methods they use to increase sales and leads and to create a shorter sales cycle and increase brand awareness. The topics that he'll discuss today are inbound marketing methodology, traffic generation, landing page optimization, lead nurturing, conversion rate optimization, call to action, and A/B testing and analysis on how to apply it to your Joomla web design agency or business. And as a special offer today, Gabe has a free copy of the eBook, Supercharge Your Joomla Website with Inbound Marketing, and a free copy of JInbound, an extension for inbound marketing for Joomla. I'm sure Gabe will talk a little bit more about those offers during the presentation, but a little bit more about Gabe too. Gabe is a results-driven, innovative, and creative Joomla web developer, inbound marketer, and web strategist with over 11 years of experience creating custom websites that produce sales, leads, and traffic. Gabe is the president of SavvyPanda.com, the president of MasterInbound.com. He is a certified inbound marketing consultant, the co-founder of Joomla Day Midwest, the co-founder of the Milwaukee Joomla User Group, a member of the Joomla marketing team, and the editor for the Business Matters section of the Joomla Community Magazine. So it's safe to say that Gabe is pretty well involved with Joomla and marketing. A little bit about us. My name is Bernie. I'll be your host and moderator today for questions and answers. We'll talk about that in just a bit, but just an introduction to our company. We are CloudAccess.net. We're also demo.joomla.org. Joomla chose us to be the official host of the demo trial of Joomla about 3 years ago because our entire company, from servers to support people, is set up to host and support the Joomla application. Now, we are unique in that regard because you can pick up the phone and call us directly to get help with your Joomla site. We'll also host your site and provide you a lot of resources for learning and development. We are recording this webinar, and it will be ready later today for you to review at youtube.com/cloudaccess. After I get the presentation back from Gabe, I'll kind of run through our channel and where you can find this recorded version, and we'll show you some ways that you can follow up with Gabe too. We'll show you how to access the Savvy Panda Inbound Marketing Forum for questions, but Gabe does want to take questions at the end of the presentation. Please find your GoToMeeting slide out question area. Post that question to me during the webinar. I'll try to answer it if I can at the time, or we'll save that question for the end. But now I want to say hi to Gabe. Gabe, are you there?
Yep. How you doing, Bernie?
I'm good. How's Milwaukee today?
It's a little gloomy, actually, unfortunately for June, but it's a good day otherwise.
Well, cool. We're right across Lake Michigan from you, actually. We have the same weather, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pass the presentation to you. Folks, we have attendees from all over the world. We know we're not exclusive to just the Midwest in the United States here. Let us know where you're attending. I love to kind of see where people are at throughout the world. So, Gabe, you should be able to accept the presentation now.
All right. Can everybody see me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good. So thanks, everybody, for attending. I just wanted to start out and get a little bit of feedback from everybody. Really quickly, I just wanted to hear why you guys chose to attend this presentation today and what are some of the things that you want to get out of it. So if you guys want to type some of that in the chat box, I'd be really interested and curious to hear that.
A couple responses here. We need sales, man. Watching from NYC. I've been using Microsoft for years and wanted to see how well another product could be for marketing my websites. They want to learn about the JInbound extension and how best to use it. Gabe, are you there?
So, Yep. Okay, good. So, good. We got a little bit of feedback. It's a little easier, of course, when you're in person. But so, usually people say like, "Oh, I want to learn more about, lead nurturing or email marketing, or I'm curious about this and that." But really, what it all comes down to is we really all want to learn how to make it rain. That's right. Make it rain because you want more leads, you want more sales, more revenue, because that means more freedom for your companies and your clients' companies. Today's presentation, I'm going to show you guys and talk about inbound marketing and how inbound marketing can help you grow your business and help you grow your clients' businesses. Nice to meet you guys. Bernie gave me a nice introduction, so no need for me to expand on that. But if most of you are like me, your website is the centerpiece of your business or marketing efforts. And you create an awesome website. It's got a clean design. You have some engaging copy. You did some SEO on the site. You have some social media integrations and newsletters, different forms, some different call to actions, and this is for a lot of people the centerpiece of their marketing. However, the phone just isn't ringing. Maybe there's a couple lead forms coming in here and there, but by no means is it raining, right? So I wanted to grow our business. I didn't want to worry every month where our next sale was going to come from. I knew we had to change things, but my background's in computer science. What do I know about marketing? And things that I thought about when I thought about marketing are TV and radio ads and magazine ads and newspapers and direct mailers and sponsorships. I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't really know what I needed to do. So, I started playing around with some of these items and just kind of testing the waters on my own and seeing what kind of results I got. And what kind of results I got? A whole lot of nothing. And so I didn't give up there. I wanted to grow and knew I needed to do something. So then took the next step and I hired an old school marketing agency. I paid them some decent money. They put together some strategy docs and put together, a plan of action that they had put together. And I took a look at all of it and, just really wasn't digging it. To me, it looked like a bunch of crap. I said, we're an internet company. This is all traditional. I don't know much about marketing, but I know this isn't going to work. And so I fired them. And looking back on it, it was obviously a very good decision. So next step I decided to do is I decided to hire somebody in-house, somebody who had a proven track record, somebody who could just take care of all our marketing and hopefully have some better results. And so this is Luke. Luke's our director of inbound marketing now. And one of the things that when I had been researching that I'd heard about was inbound marketing. And one of the first things that I had Luke do when he came on was look into inbound marketing. And so we learned a lot, when we were going through the process, and we learned about the evolution of marketing a little bit. We learned about traditional outbound marketing and how it works based on interruption, essentially trying to interrupt people's lives and try and get their attention somehow, and really how it's just a one-way conversation. We learned about some of the tools that traditional marketing uses, such as trade show booths or publication ads, TV ads, direct mailers, and how they try and get people's attentions in those aspects. We learned essentially about the way traditional advertising worked. Essentially, you paid for your space to get in front of people, and you got leads. And for a time, this did work. Essentially, the more money you spent, It was directly proportional to the more leads you got. And while it was still fresh and while it was still out there, it worked, and it worked great. But then people got tired and sick of it. And they said, you know, no more crap. We're tired of this. Things were getting so things essentially got so saturated with this old type of interruption marketing. People started to tune it out. You have technology like DVRs where you can skip ads, and internet radio which doesn't have ads, and essentially interruption or outbound marketing got much less effective. And of course, now we have the internet today. And when you want to find or research, you know, buy something, research something, you know, the first place you typically go is right here to Google. And what that did is it really shifted the balance of power. Now, you know, if you wanted to have access to 1 million people or millions and millions of people, you didn't just have to have a big budget. You know, you could be the little guy and you can compete with these people who have ridiculous budgets, and it balanced everything out. And so now all you had to do was you had to rank here. You know, you had to appear in the search engines. And more, you know, as we got into it more and more, what we learned about inbound marketing is that, you know, these are some typical results and stats. Within the first 7 months, most people saw a 50% increase roughly in sales. More leads within the first 7 months, typically 84% increase in leads. More traffic, 92% had increased traffic, and 40% of those had increased traffic by at least 75%. We also learned that there was 61% cost per lead over from outbound to inbound marketing, so it's much it's cheaper. And there was a 61% shorter sales cycle, so it was a quicker process. So we said, hey, let's try this out. Let's do this, right? So I've been talking about inbound marketing, and what exactly is inbound marketing? Inbound marketing is really just a combination of marketing tactics that are used to work together like a finely oiled machine. And it's based on the concept of earning people's attention and making yourself easy to find and providing valuable content. And what we're going to talk about a little bit more later is the sales cycle and converting those prospects no matter what part of the sales cycle they're in. So inbound marketing is especially effective for small businesses that deal with high dollar values and long research cycles. So you'll see here we have a combination of different things that are going into this. We have blogging, social media, search engine optimization, content creation, landing pages, call to actions, lead nurturing, email, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a bunch of things that are working together all as one. So it's the new methodology, like we said, of earning your way in or attracting people to you versus the old methodology of hammering a message to people and trying to get them to listen, or as I like to say it, buying, begging, or bugging your way in. You know, and we want to earn our way in. So what were our results when we switched over? Let's talk about our results. So let's look at the first 12 months. Site visits. We had a 1,000% increase in the first 12 months of site visits. On average, when we were first starting out, we would get maybe about roughly 1,000 site visits a month, maybe 1,100. By the end of month 12, we were close to 13,000 visits a month. Additionally, on top of that, if you can see here in this graph, the green is organic search, and we used to get now this graph isn't the correct time period for what I'm talking about, but it gives you the right idea. So The search of those 13,000, typically we used to get about roughly 10% of search traffic. About 50% of those were search engine results. So of those 13,000, 6,500 were search engine results. Our average monthly leads, so this is one of the things that really counts. Average monthly leads went from, used to get about maybe 10 leads a month. By the end of those 12 months, we were getting about 110 leads a month. And so we experienced an 1,100% increase in leads in the first 12 months. So needless to say, it rained. It worked great. So, but you guys might be wondering now, but Gabe, you said that all I needed to do was rank in search engines, and that'll increase the amount of traffic I get, which will produce more leads, which will help me get more sales, right? And that's what a lot of people think, but that's not quite right. And that's just one piece of the puzzle, and let me explain why. If you rank number 1 tomorrow, what would happen? Let's look at that scenario. Traffic would go up, but 97% of that traffic would be wasted. And let me tell you why. This is what it would look like for that traffic. And this is what most website sales funnels look like. You're only targeting roughly 1 to 3% of your traffic who are at the bottom of the sales funnel, as we like to call it, and ready to buy. And we need to target 100% of that. So you're working really, really hard to get all this traffic into your website, which you can see at the top here. And then you're hard selling with that CTA and or that call to action and only addressing the bottom funnel. And you're losing all these opportunities, which is roughly 97 to 99% of the rest of those visitors. You're losing all those opportunities. So this is what a more effective sales funnel looks like in an inbound marketing sales funnel. So you'll see we have our website visitors at the top, and at the bottom we have our people who are ready to talk business at 1 to 3%. But then we're looking at the middle and we're addressing the middle. So the people who are coming to our website are information seekers and just looking for information on the industry or looking for information on how to make a decision. We need to address that part of the funnel. And we also need to address the middle part of the funnel, which is people who are looking to qualify. Leads who know what they want and are now qualifying a business to provide the solution for them. And so we essentially need to take them from a website visitor, and then if they're at the top of the funnel, we want to move them down to the middle of the funnel through lead nurturing, and if they're the middle of the funnel, we want to move them to the bottom of the funnel. And they can come in at any point, and we'll be addressing that person who's coming to our website, so that we're not just addressing that bottom 1 to 3%. So to understand that, we have to understand a typical buying process for somebody. So when somebody wants to buy something, the first part of that is realizing that they have a problem. So first they become aware that they have a problem, and once they become aware that they have a problem, then they begin to search for a solution for that problem. So they begin to perform research. And as they're performing research, they begin to understand solutions. And as they begin to understand solutions, then they start to establish buying criteria. What are some must-haves? What's available? They don't want to be missing anything, etc. And after they've established some criteria, then they begin to prioritize what's important in a solution to them. And then once they've found what's most important to them, then they begin to evaluate vendors. And once they've evaluated their vendors, they begin to narrow those down, compare vendors, etc. And then they make their final decision and make the purchase. And so no matter what phase that person is of the buying cycle, we need to address that on the website and then nurture them to get them to that very end goal, which is the sale. And so we have to understand that buying process in order to make our websites effective and work on that buying process. So this is how inbound marketing creates the funnel, and with that combination of things to address the buying process. So if we look at it, a stranger comes to our website and we want to attract that stranger to the website and make them a visitor. So we'll do that with a number of different things. It could be SEO, blogging, we could be guest blogging on other sites, could be social media, etc. But we want to attract that visitor. Once that visitor comes to our page, then we want to convert them to a lead, right? So we might be creating call to actions and landing pages and forms and lead nurturing campaigns to try and convert them, and premium content like eBooks or putting together webinars, etc. to convert them. And then once we've converted them to a lead, then we need to close them. So we have tools like email and workflows and lead scoring or CRM integrations. We have a lot of different tools then on the website that can help the sales team, that the sales team can help close them. And then once they're customers, it doesn't end there. We want to delight our customers. We want to make them a referral machine and a promoter for us. And so we do that with social media, email, and some marketing intelligence tools. And so this is the very basic process now of inbound marketing. So let's look at an example of how it works. This is Pongo. Pongo's our mascot at Savvy Panda. Pongo wants to learn more about inbound marketing. So first thing Pongo's going to do is he's going to go to a search engine and he's going to do a little search on inbound marketing. And he's going to see some results, and he's going to click on it. And he's going to come to a blog post, right? So he starts to read about inbound marketing, why it's effective. He starts thinking about these blogs. Hey, these guys are pretty smart. The blog is building credibility and trust with him, and so he's finding some good information on inbound marketing. And then he digs a little deeper into the blog, and at the bottom of the blog, he notices that there's a call to action at the bottom, a little graphic that gives him information to the ultimate guide, or the essential guide to inbound marketing and SEO, for instance. So Pongo goes to that, he clicks on that call to action. That call to action takes him to a landing page. On that landing page, he fills out his information and he downloads the guide. So he starts reading the guide, and the next day he gets some more information. So, well, you have to correct me. My picture is wrong here. This should be a picture of an email here, but. So the next day, he starts getting more information. He's reading his guide. He gets an email, and the email just contains more information on inbound marketing, some more tips, etc. So he's continuing to learn. He's learning more about inbound marketing. He's finding the information really valuable, right? So then, let's say a couple days later, he gets a new email again, and now there's a new ebook, right? And so Pongo's already learned a lot about inbound marketing. He's been doing research. He's been getting materials through email, a couple here, a couple there. So there's a new ebook that comes out. This is the ultimate guide to hiring an inbound marketing agency. Now, Pongo's been researching criteria and kind of making his decisions. So this guide kind of comes at the perfect time because he's getting ready to look at a vendor to help him with inbound marketing, right? So then maybe a few days later, again, after downloading the guide, he gets a few more emails, some more information about inbound marketing, and then maybe there's an email that comes up and said, hey, I see you've been interested in inbound marketing. Let's set up a time to chat. And this is again perfect timing for Pongo because he's been doing some research on vendors, and he's ready to take, he's ready to take the next step and start talking, right? So let's take a closer look at what we did. So as we said involved, we showed this slide already. What's involved in inbound marketing? We need to create good content addressing all parts of the funnel, like we said. We need to make sure we get found. We need to make sure we convert the people that do find us, close them, and delight them. So step one is understanding the process. Marketing and sales need to work hand in hand so that marketing feeds sales and sales feeds marketing, because marketing needs to understand how sales runs their sales process in order to move them down and write those emails down the sales funnel, because product A versus product B or service A versus service B may have a different sales process. And so when you have a different sales process, the buyer and how you put them through the sales process is going to be really important. So the most important thing is to first understand the sales process of your organization. And every organization is probably going to have a little bit of a different sales process, but most generally follow that follow and address that buying cycle graphic that we saw earlier. So talk to your sales team. Know what objections customers are giving them. Learn what challenges they're having. Know what the key sales drivers are. These are all going to be really important things when you're beginning to write your emails and write your content. They're going to help with your blogs, and you can write direct content around this, and this is where it helps shorten the sales cycle, because you're able to get a lot of that information out for the sales team ahead of time so that answers are being questioned, and it helps make their job easier. And ultimately, it's also going to bring in a much more qualified lead and a much more educated lead. And this is where your cost savings and on your lead and your shorter sales cycles come in. So it's ultimately making it easier for your sales team. Next thing is we need to know our buyer. We need to know our buyer really, really well. Because without knowing our buyer, we cannot target our buyer. And so we need to know what their likes are, what their dislikes are. Every company, and we call these buyer personas. Every company could have one or multiple buyer personas. For instance, we have 4 buyer personas for our company. Typically 3 to 4 is pretty average for a company to have different buyer personas. But we need to know what they like, what they dislike, how we're helping them solve their problems. What are their general hobbies? What is the persona of this person? And so that when we're communicating on social media and we're building content, we're building it specifically for that persona. And because we're personalizing that message to each of these personas, that's going to really shoot our conversion rates up. It's going to make our message much more effective. We're going to know who we're targeting much better. And so we have to know our buyer, and that's extremely important. So once we've done our research, we know our buyer, we know our sales process. Now we need to begin creating our content based on that. So we're gonna split our content into 2 types of categories. We have essentially our regular content, which is things like guest blogs, video, viral content, infographics are a few examples. And so the first, of course, is blogging. So blogging is a great way to, for instance, take a topic like an objection. Like if somebody says, something common you hear a lot is, why do you charge so much for your services? Write a blog about what it takes and what goes into those services, and address it on the onset. And then if you're writing, you can write blogs about popular topics that are going on in industry terms to attract people. Write frequently asked questions on there. Things that people are going to be searching for every day. One of the things too you can use to really quickly optimize and look for what topics, if you just start typing in items into Google, Google has an autocomplete. That autocomplete can help you kind of determine what topics you're looking for if you have a general topic, and how it generally will autocomplete that can help shift you, and that's a way that you can look for some trending topics. Also Google Trends, of course, and different trending sites. But blogging is very important, and you'll hear more about that later. So next thing we want to talk about is premium content. So premium content is content that's valuable enough that people are willing to fill out a form and give you their name and email for it. So this could be things like ebooks, white papers, webinars, checklists, case studies, PowerPoints, kits, really anything you can think of that would be of value to the person that's visiting your site. Other things, top industry trends, how-to guides, product demo videos, tip sheets. So we're going to use our premium content to get people into our funnel. And so we can create premium content over each step, whether it be, like we showed before, the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Typically bottom of the funnel, we want to get them talking to us, but so we can create premium content around any part of the funnel, and that's how we want to get people into our funnel. So a couple examples that we could have, for instance, if we're going to use CloudAccess could put out a top funnel item, a Joomla developer's guide to web hosting. And so you'll see what we're doing with this and a few of the other ones is that we're being very specific. We're not targeting just anybody for hosting. We're targeting Joomla developers specifically. And so this is specific for those people. So another example, for instance, a MOFU could be the essential guide to choosing a Joomla web host. So again, this is a middle funnel, so we're qualifying. And so they could be not just a web host, but a Joomla web host. And so we're speaking very specifically to somebody. Before we were speaking to people who are involved with Joomla and people who are developers. Now we're speaking very specifically to a Joomla web host or somebody who's using Joomla and is looking for hosting. And then finally, a bottom funnel, we could put together something like a personalized hosting consultation, something along those lines. So that would be something bottom funnel. So these are just some examples of some premium content you could do. So step 3, we need to get found, right? So we talked about content, and we're going to be using content as our basis for attraction. So we have to get our content out there. And I'm going to talk really generally about attracting traffic in each of my slides because each of these slides could be a presentation in themselves. So search engine optimization. You'll see Einstein here with a big duh, right? You guys already knew this. I don't need to tell you guys the importance of SEO or how crucial it is, the direct amount of traffic and results that come through SEO. But what we do need to know is that every time that we're creating content, like we talked about in the last step, we're really creating these SEO nuggets. Now, for instance, if I'm creating a blog, like I talked about, every month, that blog is going to get traffic, right? So if that blog gets 1,000 views this month, it's probably going to get 1,000 views next month as well, and the month after, and the month after, and the month after. And it's going to continue to be indexed, and it's going to continue to show in search engines. And so if you create another blog then, now we begin to compound. So if that blog gets found every month and it begins to compound over and over and over, now we're beginning to grow exponentially and bigger and bigger and bigger every time we're putting out that content and every time a search engine finds it. So it's really, really important. And now this is totally different, of course, than our traditional outbound methods because you pay for your advertising, and as soon as you're done paying for your advertising, it goes away, and you don't get that anymore. Whereas when you're creating a piece of content and a search engine finds it, that content is going to live there forever as long as the search engine sees it as relevant and valuable content to the person who's searching. So next, social media. Again, I'm sure this is something you guys already knew, but social media, its impact on sales is actually staggering, and it has generated itself as a revenue generator. So typically, I think the statistic is 60% of people have made a sale off of social media. I know we have. I think those stats are actually low even. A lot of times when I ask this question, how many people have made a sale off social media, more often than not I'm seeing higher and higher percentages of the room of people who are making sales off social media. But with social media, it really allows us to extend our reach and promote our content within other circles and engage with people. And so social media is going to both play into the attraction level, but also later into the promoter level as well. And so it allows our content to go viral, it allows our content to be shared, all linking back to your website and attracting traffic, expanding your reach. Email marketing. So again, I know this is probably shocking to you guys. You know, we want to drive traffic back to our site, but one really interesting thing about email marketing is you may be asking, so how is email marketing going to drive more traffic and especially new traffic to my website? Because these people are already on my list. So yes, if I create content, you know, and they like that content, sure, that can drive them back to my website. And so that could be more traction. But one stat that's was really surprising to me when I heard it was one of the biggest sources of traffic, if you have a big email list, is from that email list. For new traffic, though, not for people already on your list. And that's because people who are already on your list and get this really great content are going to share it. They're going to share it with their friends, and they're going to share it with their colleagues. And when they do share it, you know, when they forward that email, they may say, hey, you know, we were talking about this last week, and I thought you might be interested. And when they do share that, and because it's coming from a trusted referral, they are going to visit, they are going to click on that, and it is going to have more credibility. So that's one really interesting item about email marketing. So blogging. So you'll see Shakespeare here, to blog or not to blog, right? That's the question. And really there is no question here. Blogging is an incredibly crucial part of the process. Websites that have blogs on average have 55% more traffic than websites that don't. And on top of that, blogging, like we said earlier, lets you show your credibility, it lets you show authority, it lets you build trust, it lets you position yourself as a leader and as a thought leader and a leader in the industry. So a lot of people might see blogging as a chore on the onset, but if you remember, every time we're creating a blog, it's a little nugget for us. And it's extremely effective. And once you learn how to blog properly, you know, for some people it can take you a while at first, but once you get practice at it and you can do it, you know, you can crank out a blog pretty easily in an hour. And it's a really important, crucial piece of the puzzle. And another way, not only blogging, but guest blogging, because guest blogging gets us access to other people's networks. It allows us to have access to their audience, and it attracts us. It attracts more new people to our site. So step 4, convert. So like we talked about before, a lot of people focus on getting people to their site, but most don't have a strategic plan once a visitor gets on their site to ensure that traffic is put to good use and we're converting them. We need to be addressing all parts of the funnel, not just the bottom of the funnel. So we don't want to spend all this time and hard effort getting people to our site and wasting it. And so part of conversion is call to actions. So you'll see here just a couple of quick examples of some call to actions that could be on the website. You know, when you're creating these call to actions, you know, make sure that you're making them clear, make sure they're action oriented. You know, if you can keep them above the fold, you know, so that they're easy to see and stick out, make them stand out. You know, make sure that you're, we're going to go into landing pages next, but make sure the headline of your call to action matches the headline of your landing page. And of course, have different call to actions for different stages of the buying cycle and test them out and see what works and doesn't work. We're going to talk a little bit more about testing and A/B testing and how just a few words can make a big difference in a little bit. But call to actions are a really important part in the process and beginning to convert people. So next we have landing pages, right? So our call to actions are going to link to landing pages, and from there they can enter their information in, and then we can begin our lead nurturing campaigns to start shifting them down the funnel once they're in. And so let's take a deeper look at landing pages. This is a really important, really good topic here, actually. So when we look at landing pages, I want to point out some really key items here that will really help you with your conversions. This will really help skyrocket those conversions. So you'll notice in the top right, I removed my menu. So I want to get rid of any distractions. Of course, I'm still going to give them a way to get out, so my logo up there is linked, but I'm removing my distractions. You're going to notice consistent call to action. So I used the word download up here at the top of my form. I'm using download again for the button. On the left here, I'm using, fill out on the form to write download, and my call to action previously also said download. You'll notice I have some social sharing to make it easy to share, and I have at the bottom, I'm removing all my footer links as well. And if we look at the next part of the landing page, some more kind of in-depth things. On the right here, I'm showing them a picture of what they're going to receive. I'm qualifying who is for. So when I'm writing this, I'm writing it to qualify. If we were going back to the CloudAccess example, they might be saying this is for Joomla developers or this is for Joomla users. So I want to qualify that lead. And then I'm going to make it really easy to read. I'm going to make bullet points in here, and I'm going to address the points of pain and tell them what's going to be included in there and how what's going to be included in there is going to address their points of pain and convert them. And so these are some items that'll make your landing pages convert much higher. So I've been talking about lead nurturing, and so let's talk a little bit more about lead nurturing. A lot of people don't know what lead nurturing is, but it's really a must for the inbound process. And lead nurturing is really just a series of emails that helps build relationships with your leads. And so it helps you move them down the buying cycle, and so they're qualified and ready to go once you get them over to sales. So it helps build credibility and trust. It provides the lead with additional value. And so you're going to, and then you're also going to be able to spend less time, like we talked about before, less time qualifying, less time educating, et cetera, et cetera. So think about it as the glue. So when you want to get somebody from top funnel to middle funnel, we're doing that with lead nurturing. When we want to get somebody from middle funnel to bottom funnel, we're doing that with lead nurturing. We're putting all those pieces of the puzzle together with lead nurturing. And so this is a really, really important part of the process. So here's a sample lead nurturing campaign that you could have. Now, a lot of people ask this question. So these are a series of emails that we have. A lot of people ask the question, what's the right timing to send out different emails? And there's no really correct answer for that. The best thing you have to do is you have to test and measure. Do different tests and see what works best for your audience, because every audience is going to be different and there is no set answer. So you could set up different campaigns over different periods of time and see what works for you. You'll notice here some of these emails could be offering value. Some could be trying to push them down to the next part of the funnel. Some at the end could say, hey, wait a minute, we haven't, if I already sent out some valuable information and I already sent out a middle funnel email and they didn't convert, maybe I need to send out a, hey, we missed you type email, haven't heard from you, and try and get them to convert again, or try and get them on a new campaign, or see what happens. So there's a lot you can do here to move them down the funnel and address where they're at, and it's really about knowing the process of your sales here, again, to push them down. So here's an example of what an email might look like. Really simple here. We have our email header, and this is of course trying to get them to middle funnel here. So this would be, for instance, a middle funnel email example. Step 5, test, measure, and adjust. This is really important. A lot of you may have heard this quote, of course, by Deming: "In God we trust, all others must bring data." It's really important that we test the work that we've put out there, measure the results, make the necessary adjustments. The smallest details can make a really, really, really big difference. So we want to A/B test call to actions. We want to A/B test landing pages. We want to A/B test our emails, see what works better than others. We want to study our analytics on our page, see what pages are getting traffic, see what others aren't, etc. And so, for instance, here's an example of an A/B test that we did on a really simple call to action. So you can see here we have 2 different buttons, really simple adjustment. Let's schedule a time to chat and schedule a consultation, right? So these are 2 very, very similar items, but just a small word tweak. And you can see this is a really small test, but you know, we could very quickly see that schedule a time to chat was getting like 4 times higher conversion than schedule a consultation. So we can take that data, and if we're never looking at that, we could be missing a lot of opportunities here. And if we never looked at that, we would have never known. And so now I can say, all right, I'm going to schedule a consultation out, and maybe I'm going to put a 3rd option into test next month and see if that performs better or worse, and let that run for some time and see what works. Here's another example of some call to action testing. You know, you can see here 3 different, these are not just words, but completely different graphics, and seeing what converts and what does best. A/B test your emails. Look at what the results are from your emails and see what works best. See what percentage of clicks you're getting. See what works best in that. Like I said before, A/B test your landing pages as well. Not just one piece, but look at all the pieces. See what's performing best. Landing page example. What are you converting? What are the statistics? Again, how do you know what's doing best and what's going to perform well, etc. So one thing we got to remember, like we said before, metrics don't mean anything if somebody isn't acting on them. So all the data in the world is useless unless you're putting it to good use. So what are some tools that I can use with Joomla to implement inbound marketing? This is a tough question because really there are no good tools right now. Yes, you have an email tool here, and you have maybe a stats tool over here, and you can create a landing page, and you have a form tool, but they're all disjoint, and they don't work together. And the important thing with inbound marketing is making the process work together and making the process speak. So you have options like third-party items. For instance, HubSpot. We're a HubSpot partner. We love using HubSpot. HubSpot's what we're using for our site right now. But HubSpot's expensive. It's not the right fit for everybody. You're looking at about $700 a month minimum to get started with HubSpot. There's other tools like Infusionsoft or Marketo, but those are, Infusionsoft's a little less expensive, but they're still expensive tools. And so that's where we have JInbound coming in. JInbound is going to be a Joomla inbound marketing extension specifically made for Joomla to help you create landing pages very easily, help you run lead nurturing campaigns, and have the intelligence to say, once they've converted on an offer X, then remove them from campaign X, and to have that and put them in a new campaign. And so to have that marketing intelligence, to have that marketing automation that you need. And so, unfortunately, for now, that's not. Joomla doesn't have the best tools unless you're using a third party or soon to come JInbound. So now you're all inbound marketing experts, right? And you can take that data and implement big campaigns. So I'm almost done here. One of the things I really want to talk mention is, it's really important with your marketing to have fun. A lot of people see marketing as a chore, and it's not a chore if you don't make it a chore. If you look at the results and you see the results and you make marketing fun, other people are going to realize it, and they're going to give you, and they're going to see it, and it's going to make your marketing more effective, and it's going to make marketing more fun for you. So you guys have some homework now. We have some free resources for you too. You have both a free ebook and a free copy of JInbound. So if you guys just go to jinbound.com, there's a little form on there, and you just fill out that form. I think you just ask for your name and email, and that's it. And then you can get a free, the free ebook, Supercharge Your Joomla website with Inbound Marketing. And so you'll get that right away, and you'll be signed up for a free copy of JInbound as well once it's released. We have a complete alpha right now. We're going to be heading to beta very soon. We have all our bugs that we're working out. So we're hoping to launch JInbound hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days. And if anybody's interested too in beta access, we can give you beta access to test ahead of time as well. Some additional resources you can have. If you're interested in inbound marketing courses, you can go to masterinbound.com. It's a step-by-step course that we've put together along with some partners. So we have, for instance, Hootsuite, Wistia, HubSpot, sales trainer Rick Roberge, who are all going to be contributing members in addition to us to this course. So really, it's a 20-plus hour course that will tell you step-by-step everything you need to do to implement an inbound marketing campaign. So essentially, just like we said, help boost traffic, boost leads, boost sales, and supercharge your business. More additional resources if you guys want. Follow us on Twitter. We put out a lot of great content. Our blog is awesome. Also a lot of really great Joomla and marketing items on our blog. And finally, questions.
Yeah, hey, great job, Gabe.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to kind of get back because you posted that question at the beginning, why are you here? And we tried to bring everybody in. That didn't work so well, but a lot of people got back. And I mentioned a few of those, but want to revisit a few as well. Omar, who is attending from Florida, said that he needs sales. Jeff commented from Texas that I have been using Microsoft for years and I wanted to see how well another product could be for marketing my websites. Howard wants to learn more about JInbound specifically. And do you have any idea on the release of the final extension and the time frame?
I'm hoping within the next 30 to 60 days. We've been a little swamped, and so it's been slower than we like. Technically, it was supposed to be released about 2 months ago.
Right.
But we do have a working alpha right now, and it's really just getting all the bugs out at this point and making it a stable product.
All right. Yeah, Dave comments that he's looking to learn more about automation. Jay is just getting started with Joomla and interested in marketability. Jim comments that he's a photographer and just opened a studio looking for ways to drive traffic to his site and increase sales on Fine Art America. Bill says, I have a new client that wants to sell photographs online. We should hook Bill and Jim together there. Andrew says, how do you, so I think our questions are starting now, and I like this question from Andrew, and it's a really good one, and I'm very interested to learn your take on it. How do you define a lead?
Sure. So a lead, and there's different stages of a lead. So a lead is somebody who's in your funnel. And so a lead is not necessarily somebody who's ready to be contacted, but there's somebody who has essentially given you their information in order to get something. And so there's different stages of leads. So for instance, there's a marketing qualified lead, and then there might be a sales qualified lead. So a marketing qualified lead is essentially somebody who it's determined that within the system you've set out some criteria, and marketing has qualified that lead as a qualified lead. So it could be that on a form they entered certain criteria, like they have a certain amount of employees or maybe have a certain amount of revenue, and then based on what they entered, you can say, all right, this is a marketing qualified lead, and because they're a marketing qualified lead, maybe I want to put them into a different campaign. And then you have a sales qualified lead who sales, maybe they're ready to chat, and sales has went in and said, all right, this person is a qualified lead for sales. If you're looking to work with companies that are 100 plus and somebody fills out a lead form that, for instance, is, let's say, 5 to 10 employees, maybe that's not a sales qualified lead for you. And so you have different classifications of leads, but really anything that's qualified as a lead is somebody who's in your funnel and you're beginning to market to.
All right, very good. Just to give a shout out to some of our other attendees today, Jay is attending from New Jersey, Andrew from New York City, Marcelo from Brazil, Alan from the United Kingdom, and Bill from South Carolina in the U.S. It's always interesting to me how global these webinars can become. Another question, though, from Hugh, and Hugh would like to know if Jay Inbound is going to be able to integrate with MailChimp.
Not at first, so we're going to be using an internal system, but it is a pretty high priority on our list. That's been one request we keep getting over and over and over, is very specifically MailChimp integration. And so in the initial release, I'd say no, but I think you can definitely see it in future releases.
All right, and Howard has asked, my business is in need of a landing page ASAP. What can I do in the interim before Jay Inbound is released?
So I think a follow-up question to that is a landing page for what purpose?
Yeah, so Howard, let us know what your purpose is, essentially. What's your goal at the end of the day? Andrew comments, thank you, very helpful. Waiting to hear back from Howard. So let's wait to hear. Let's post another question while we wait to hear back from Howard and his goal. Sakis has posted a question, ideal inbound marketing client groups. So if we're grouping those clients together, any suggestions?
So the question is how to determine who your ideal client is? Is that the question?
Well, if they're trying to,
persona?
It sounds to me like Sakis is just trying to create the client groups. How to organize those?
The personas.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're looking to create personas, you really have to have some intimate knowledge of, you have to have some intimate knowledge. And you can do a search. There are some persona templates you can kind of use to kind of help define what are those areas. But you have to know, you really have to know from experience who your audience is and who you're trying to target. So, if you're noticing, or for instance, if you go talk to your sales team, or if you're the main salesperson, and you really start thinking about and analyzing your leads and saying, I'm seeing a trend here, and this is an ideal client for us, and this is who I really want to work with. And then you're seeing trends inside of those trends. You can say, what age are these people typically? What's their typical household income? At first it can be a little bit more of a guess if you don't have a lot of that data. So you can say, I think this is kind of my criteria. And then as you get more and more leads, and as you kind of see who your ideal leads are, if you don't have a lot of that data, then you can continue to update it as you go and get better and better profiles for that. So as a new business, it may be a little bit harder, but you may, depending on the industry, you may be able to do some research and find out that information. But it's really going to come from, talking to the sales team, talking to the business, and putting together that profile and knowing that customer.
All right, Sakis. So research that client. And getting back to Howard's question here, Gabe, my business is in need of a landing page ASAP. What can I do in the interim? And his follow-up to that is it's opt-ins and career assessment sign-ups.
Sure. So opt-ins to email lists and career assessment sign-ups. So it sounds like, I guess another follow-up question is it, actually creating the landing page right now? Because if you're using Joomla, if you just need to create a landing page, you could put together, for instance, you could use something like RS Forms in the meantime, or Chronoforms, or any of the form components, which will let you create one of those pages and have a form on there directly, and you can use that to kind of capture that information. But then, what are you gonna use to capture that information and get them in your funnel? So, for instance, if you're creating, what was the topic, the end topic, Bernie?
It's opt-ins and career assessments, with the sort of the career assessment being a complimentary service, but I think the ultimate product is that email newsletter, perhaps.
Sure. Okay, so the career assessment, depending on where that is in your process, so if the career assessment, for instance, is a bottom funnel that you're trying to get them to, start with the blogging, and then get them in with the blogging. But then, what relevance can you create, or what value can you create around the assessment? So if there's something that they're typically looking for, this could be. I'm familiar with, and I'm wondering if this is what the type of business it is. But I know there are some businesses out there that essentially get paid by referring students to different colleges, and so I'm wondering if this is one of those cases, and if it is, getting them to take that assessment and then getting the referral to those colleges is the end goal. And so, if that's the case, you may want to put out, for instance, a blog on it's going to be specific to the topic, of course, but what are some things you need to look for in a career, or how to determine your career, and you can create different blogs or different pieces of content, maybe eBooks around that specifically to get them in your funnel, and then maybe the end goal is then getting to the assessment, for instance, and starting at the top, but then working them through the funnel to get them to take the assessment if they're not ready to take the assessment when they first get to your website.
All right. Yeah, he's sort of following up here that he's already got RS Forms Pro, so that's a good first step, and that the end product is ultimately career crafting, a 6-month career change program. That's really interesting, because they say the average professional is going to actually change professions up to 6 times throughout their entire career, get a new career. Really fascinating.
So it sounds like maybe the assessment is the top of the funnel then, and he's having trouble getting more people into the top of the funnel?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. But the issue is getting the landing page created.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, my recommendation for now would be, when JInbound launches, it's going to make it really easy to create landing forms without having to really write any code. But for now, I think RS Forms is probably the way to go and do that, just to get started.
Yeah, so his assessment is done by phone, too, so probably featuring that phone number in a prominent position. Yeah.
Yeah, or at least, I don't know if they call in and do the assessment right away, or if they fill out a form. But if you can at least, if the only way, because some people aren't, I don't know if there's an option to the assessment other than phone, or to schedule an assessment, but you want to be able to capture that information in case they're not ready to call right away, to be able to capture that information on the onset.
All right. Let's get to a question from Alan. I'm new to Joomla, coming from a Dreamweaver and SEO background. What do you suggest I learn about first for marketing in Joomla?
Well, good question. I think specifically to Joomla, I guess there's kind of 2 parts to that. Are you trying to learn Joomla, or are you trying to learn marketing? Because Joomla is a tool that can help you do marketing, but if you don't have the marketing background, you're not necessarily going to know what to do. So part of that is you need to learn Joomla, and there's a lot of really great resources out there to learn Joomla. I know CloudAccess has a lot of great resources on their site. You can use something like lynda.com, or any of the books that are out there, ostraining.com, which I know does training. So you can there's a lot of different resources for learning Joomla, And then if you need to learn marketing, there's a lot of really great resources as well. I mentioned masterinbound.com earlier, and there's tons and tons of different blogs out there for learning marketing, and lots of different resources as well.
All right, Alan, stay tuned at the end of this. I'm going to steal the presentation back from Gabe in a little bit, and I will show you one of our SEO webinars. It's a good place to start to learning Joomla, specifically how to boost your page rank using Joomla, just core Joomla tools. And Paul posted a question: how important is it to fill out the meta keywords in a Joomla article or an article by article basis? Those are all really good tools, and it can never hurt. Those web crawlers will index that content. And Gabe, is that something you pay attention to?
Yeah, I mean, the meta description I think is the most important. Keywords aren't as relevant, but I mean, just by default, if a search engine is going to show that article, what's going to show up is that meta description that you filled out on that article. If you're, as long as your site is set up properly to do that. And so it is important. I think what's even more important is microdata. If you guys aren't familiar with microdata, if you do a search on a search engine and you have a little picture that shows up next to a listing, or for instance, if you search for some food and you see a bunch of information on a recipe, or if you search for an event and it's got all the event details, that's microdata. And so you can use some. That's not built into Joomla by default, but there are some third-party extensions that will help you implement microdata on your site. And what that does is it gives you a bigger listing on the search engine. It makes your listing stick out, which is going to give you a higher click-through rate. And I know they did a study with microdata on the top 3 positions. Essentially, they had a listing in position 3 that had microdata, that had the picture, and it had an extra line of text. And the first and second listings did not have microdata. And the statistics showed that the third listing got more clicks than the first 2 combined, the one that did have the microdata. So that's some additional kind of metadata, so to speak, that you can be adding to it. But it's not necessarily a huge factor getting back to the metadata, but you do want to fill out at least the description, in my opinion.
That's cool. And Gabe, have you started playing around with the 3.1 tags feature at all?
Not yet. It's on my list. I'm excited for tags, but I'm even more excited that they hopefully put in content or versioning in 3.2.
Yeah, we were at JAB last week and heard a lot about that as well. Very good. Let's see. Hugh is wanting to know if he can get a shot at the beta version of JInbound.
Yeah, absolutely, Hugh. Just shoot me an email, gabe@savvypanda.com, and I'll add you to the beta list.
Very good. Jim. Oh, Jim has posted some links to share with Bill about the photography. So if you would, Bill, send me a message. I'll share you those links from Jim. Andrew has commented, thank you, very helpful. JP says, great show, interesting. Thank you very much to Cloud Access and Savvy Panda. And let's see. Just want to make sure I'm getting everything. Jeff posted a question. I think we kind of commented on this already. I'll read it again. I'm coming over from Microsoft, and I'm just now putting together my first Joomla site. It seems that a lot of the extensions are not gearing towards the news updates. How often do we need to continually update or upgrade to ensure our SEO or inbound is working correctly?
Are you talking about software updates, or are you talking about content updates?
That's a good question.
So I think, software updates wise, I don't think it's necessarily a big, that's not necessarily a big factor, and especially so if you do an upgrade and you don't pay attention to the right things, it can actually be very detrimental. I know, for instance, some people, when they were upgrading in between versions, links for instance changed. They didn't pay attention to redirecting links or making sure that the links stayed the same. And if you don't do that, all your links are going to be broken, and it could really affect your business really, really greatly. So from a technology standpoint, it's as far as inbound marketing and tracking traffic and things like that. updating your core version, I don't think is important. Keeping up to date on extensions and what you use to drive that marketing may be important, but then from a content aspect, you really want to be updating your content on a really regular basis. There's a direct correlation. The more updates you make, the more traffic you're going to get, and if you're doing things right, that's going to mean more leads and more sales as well on top of that. But, so, optimally we like to say, try and post at least 2 blogs a week. We post at least 1 a day, if not multiple a day. So it is important.
Yeah, content is king, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. David has asked, do you know of any tools to help manage ebook downloads?
In terms of protecting them?
Or just kind of facilitating the distribution, probably.
Sure. So facilitating distribution, there are download extensions out there. There's quite a few of them.
I know we use DocMan.
DocMan, yes, that's what I was going to say. DocMan's one, but to me that's kind of overkill. We just upload the documents on our website, and we put a thank you page afterwards. So in the thank you page, you can put the document there, or if you don't want to put it on the thank you page, in the email that gets sent, you can have a link to it there. So we don't necessarily need any management tools or anything like that. It may be more work than it's worth the trouble, and it may actually decrease the amount of conversions you get if you make it harder for people to get something. So you want to make that as easy to get for them as possible, obviously, without interfering with that download process. So we personally don't use anything for download management like that, but they do have DocMan, and I think there's JDownloads. I've actually never used that personally, but I know we have used DocMan, and I'd say it's probably overkill for something like this.
Okay. All right. Andrew comments, excellent webinar. Thank you, guys. Alan, I'm going to get back with you in just a minute on kind of the core Joomla SEO tips that you can follow. You follow a webinar of ours. A question from Jay, I think directly to Gabe. Initially, I have 2 websites. I'm currently working on hairdresser website and air conditioning and repair. What are some recommended approaches you may have to start the marketing campaign? There is now sales team associated with these scenarios. I think your entire presentation kind of commented on the direction you would suggest, but how to get started? What's his first step?
Sure. So we start our first step with a discovery interview. So we're doing a lot of discovery. We're looking at a lot of things. So we do a marketing assessment, which helps assess the strengths and weaknesses of their organization and their marketing team. Then we do an interview meeting. So we might spend anywhere from 2 to 5 hours really interviewing the client and getting to know as much as we can about their business. We're doing competitive research then. We're doing SEO audits, content inventories of all the content on your site, website audits, keyword research. So you spend a good 2 to 4 weeks on the onset just doing research and planning, So then after we're done doing our research, then we're starting to put together a strategy, building our personas. So the process we take is, spend a lot of time doing discovery and research, build our personas, build our strategy based on those personas, then execute.
All right. Howard's asked, what is the email for the beta again? Gabe at savvypanda.com, right?
Yep.
Gabe at savvypanda.com. Alan says thanks. Guillermo says thanks. Hugh says, I love Cloud Access. Thanks for the great webinar. Bill says, great, thanks for the info. Is the meta keywords better as single words or a collection of phrases? Okay. So I think, yep, go ahead.
Oh, keywords are themselves not, it's more the description than the keywords. The keywords, in my opinion, aren't important. You comma separate, the keywords if you're going to use them, but Google actually completely dropped meta keywords from their ranking factor. So I would put very low to no importance on that.
All right. Christian comments, I am Christian from Romania. I am a first-time webinar user. It's a great experience, and particularly this topic was covered. Fantastic. I really want to apply many of this information. Thank you. You're welcome. Jeff says thanks, and Bill says thanks all. Jeff says this has been great. Lots to think about before getting the changeover. Thank you for your help. Great webinar from Jay. Nate says great webinar. Will the slides be available later? That is a great question.
Yeah, I can definitely make them available. I'll throw them up on SlideShare. If you guys, Bernie, if you guys have a standard way of doing it, otherwise I can throw them up on SlideShare.
Yeah, well, you know what? We're going to create a page for this webinar on our site, and maybe we can share this presentation that way as well.
Yeah, I'll shoot over the slides to you, and we can post them.
Very good. Folks, let us know if you have any other questions. I'm going to steal the presentation back from Gabe at this point. And this is our YouTube channel right here that you should see now. This is youtube.com/CloudAccess. We're going to post this webinar later today. Let me scroll down and show you where. It is going to be under Special Joomla Webinars, this playlist. Open this up. This webinar will appear here later. If I go to CloudAccess.net, remember you can launch unlimited 30-day trials of Joomla through our site. And I'm going to go to training. And actually, let's go to webinars first. A recording of this webinar is going to be posted here under recorded webinars later today once it archives to my computer. Let's go back to YouTube, though, and go down to this special webinars playlist. I'm going to find one of those SEO webinars. So here's one from last October. This is for 2.5, but a lot of this is very applicable to 3.1. So I'm going to open this up. I'm not going to play it, though. I'm going to send this link to Alan. This is a great way to get started for you. And actually, I'll just send that link to everybody. So everyone should have received that. And just...
I think there was a more newer one too, Bernie, for 3.0 that was just a couple down.
All right, let's get back. Let's check that out. Yep.
Number 6.
Yep, there you go. Joomla. You know my content better than me, Gabe. Very good.
I just recognized it, or just saw it quickly out of the corner of my eye.
Yep, and that was 3.1. So let's get that link to everybody as well. All right. And Omar has posted a question. With all the differences in SEO, how does one cater a website to get in search engines like Bing, Yahoo, and Google? Google doesn't use keywords anymore, but what about Yahoo and Bing? Great question.
Yeah, very good question indeed. We typically, we're targeting all search engines, but if you look at the numbers, Google, I think, has like a high 80% market share on search. And so, our primary concern is making sure we rank there first. And so that's where a majority of our focus comes on. And then kind of secondarily looking at some of the other factors. But in all honesty, we're really focusing more on Google because it does have such a big market share, and that market share only keeps increasing each month. And so it is hard, but you still have all your different sitemaps that you can submit. There are certain tweaks you can do for the certain search engines, but if I'm going to make some changes and it's going to affect me ranking high in the high 80% versus trying to make some tweaks for the lower other percent, I'm definitely going to play to the higher numbers.
All right. Jeff posted a question about what would be the best package for extensions that would help a new user. Well, Jeff, really, that's entirely dependent on what you want to accomplish. If you want to send me an email at bernie@CloudAccess.net, I'd be happy to listen and read about what you want to accomplish and send you some suggestions. I know popular suggestions that our support team recommends all the time. I don't think we have any other questions. So, Gabe, I want to say thank you very much. You're a very good presenter, and hopefully we can work together at some point again in the future.
Yeah, I'd definitely love to. And love to give some more webinars, and thanks everybody for attending, and have a good rest of the week.
All right. Now, just to follow up here, if you come to savvypanda.com/ask, you can continue this conversation with Gabe. This is their forum. Come here to the inbound marketing category. Post a question. I'm sure Gabe or one of the Savvy Panda team members will get back to you shortly. So thanks, everyone, and we will hopefully see you in another webinar very soon. I'm actually going to go back here and just go through some of our upcoming special webinars. We do have a 3.1 tags webinar that we're going to host on June 17th, and this is with Elin Waring, who is a, she is Joomla in a lot of ways. Gabe, I'm sure you've met Elin. She is she is on top of the entire community and a big part of this 3.1 tags feature she's going to present. And we also have an AEC webinar coming up for memberships and subscriptions, a system for Joomla. Many others in the works. Made a lot of good contacts this week at that J and Beyond conference in the Netherlands. Very cool attending these Joomla events. Gabe, do you have any plans for a Milwaukee Joomla user group event in the future?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we do our monthly meetup, and then we're also looking at doing J-Day Midwest again, tentatively in March, looking to do a J-Day Midwest. We had one not last November, the November before at one of the local casinos here, and it was a really great, successful event, and just trying to put together the time again to do another one of those.
All right. Well, thanks, Gabe. Everyone take care. Good luck developing and getting those leads, and we'll hopefully see you guys again real soon.